to impose congressional term limits at rifle point. This will be done uh, basically at the election process and with the people running for government.
Yet at the same time, the media often labels groups such as American Wolf and other groups as extremists, as militia. I mean, do you think like that the fact that you own firearms, that you train with firearms, why are they so scared of it?
I don't think that they're truly scared of it. I think they want to demonize it. Wars are won with hearts and minds, as I said, and we are at war. It's a Cold War. Our government is battling with itself. It's broken. There are certain members in government who are actively working to change our form of government. And so they're trying, but wars aren't won with mud, blood, and steel. Wars are won with hearts and minds. So if they can convince Main Street or the Middle America that we're the bad guys, then they'll be more effective at winning this battle, this war that we're fighting.
I mean, what they were saying, like in some liberal groups, they were saying, like, it's actually people like Kyle Rittenhouse, they use the guns against.
In the picture.
Okay, well,
It's just would be nice.
yeah. Sorry, can you go a little bit out of the shot?
He's done.
Thank you.
I would prefer it like this.
Yeah. What do you say, like, to those people who argue, it's actually patriotic, like Kyle Rittenhouse or people like that have used firearms, like this deadly force?
Well, I would say specifically in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, that was 100% self-defense. And what's so scary about the Kyle Rittenhouse case itself is that it's not just that young man's freedom that's on trial here. It's our inherent right as a living being to defend ourselves. Had he not used his weapon that day, he would be dead. Or at least extreme bodily harm. So the message of these guys being the antagonist, it has not been my experience in any way, shape, or form. And I've been to these riots, I've been to these protests dozens of times now. Every time we have been the ones staying back, staying restrained, letting our presence be known, however, not being the one to cross the road and cause the problems. Every time that I've been around, and I can't speak for every single instance because I haven't been at every single instance, but I can speak to the dozens of times that I've been there and the thousands of people that I've been around. It has been overwhelmingly the violent rioters who've come over and antagonized, and on a few occasions, citizens have had to defend themselves. Now, there was that case in Portland here the other day where it was a self-proclaimed Antifa member who hunted down and basically gunned down an American who was out there waving a flag for wearing a Trump hat. He was shot for wearing a Trump hat, is my understanding. Again, I didn't know him personally. I know some of the people who he associated with, and that's the story. So it's a second-hand account, not just because I saw it on CNN. Of course, CNN wouldn't be telling that story, but it was a second-hand account, and that's by the accounts that I've gotten. That's why he was shot, simply for.
So, like, American Wolf is a lot about law and order, upkeeping American values, or of course also like transformation. Do you think like either of the two presidential candidates could do a good job having law and order? Or do you have a favorite?
So I'm definitely not going to vote for Sleepy Joe. Our movement is, I don't really tout Trump too much. If you look at everything we write down, I don't just go out and yell Trump from the rooftops. That's not what my job is. I can tell you I'll personally be voting for him. I was at Mount Rushmore on the 4th of July and listened to his speech, and I was very impressed with what he had to say. As a matter of fact, a lot of what he said was almost identical to several speeches that I had given. And so I think that he's going to definitely be the man to move our country in the right direction. And I think that if Biden wins, we're going to have a real uphill battle in keeping law and order. I feel like there are some extreme groups out there, and some of the extreme groups don't think are really gonna take kindly to that.
And the president has at least indicated that he feels there could be a rigged election, that the Democrats could try to impose false mail-in ballot. Do you see any kind of scenario like where after the election there is chaos and confusion that would require groups like American Wolf to go to the streets and kind of demand like a fair election?
So I don't know if it will be required that groups like American Wolf are the ones who come out there and say that. I have a hard time seeing a scenario where after the election there isn't going to be chaos. It doesn't matter who wins. I think that there's going to be, half of the nation's pretty divided, and I think that no matter who wins, there's going to be, half the country beyond pissed off. But I think that definitely if Trump wins, I think that chaos will be quelled very quickly. I think if Biden wins, that chaos will almost be encouraged. I think that the plan, like I've said before, is to move this form of government, to something that it's not designed to be. I feel strongly that if Biden's not in on that, he's at least being used to those means. So I think that I think it's definitely the lesser of two evils, to say the least, that Trump wins.